And welcome back to 17.1 where we will be going over the Explain 1 for angles of rotation and radian measure. So in your textbook they give you a little guide on how to convert degrees to radians and how to convert radians to degrees. So just so you know the difference, degrees usually have a number like 25 and they have this degree symbol. Whereas radians usually have a number, I don't know, like 3, and the pi symbol. So just so you know what a radian looks like and what a degree looks like. And the way we could convert them back and forth is we can take, for a degree, we can multiply that by pi divided by 180, or multiply our radian by 180 divided by pi radians. Alright, so we're going to practice doing that in example A. There's a couple actually in our table. So, our degree measure is 20. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply my top and bottom. 20 times pi is 20 pi. And 1 times 180 is 180. We do want to reduce, so this is going to be pi. Let's reduce 20 over 180. What would that reduce to? I could probably take out a 20 out of both, and that would be 1 over 9? Yeah. 1/9 pi. That would be my radian measure. I could also write it, by the way, as pi over 9. Either one's fine. Alright, let's try the next one. So 315 times 1, and that would be 315 pi's, well, 315 pi. 1 times 180. You'll probably notice a pattern here. We're going to constantly be reducing, just so you know, for each one of these. So go ahead and think of maybe some numbers I could divide out of each. I think about 5. You know, if you could think of something a little bit more, go ahead and try it out. So that would be 63 on top, and for the bottom, 36. I am seeing that they probably can take something else out, so I'm going to try, how about 9? Yeah, let's try 9. So that would be 7 on the numerator side, and on the bottom, what would that be? 4. So that would be 7/4 pi, or you could write it as 7 pi over 4, either one. Alright, let's move right along. Let's go ahead and continue changing degrees to radian measure. So that's about 600 over 1. And since we're here, we just go ahead and write these in, because you'll see that all of these just tend to be reducing fractions at some point. So here, 600 pi is just 600 pi over 180. That would be negative 60 pi over 180, negative 540 pi over 180. Let's go ahead and see if we can reduce. And or maybe evenly divide, you know. So I see 600 and I see 180. Let's see if that reduces. Maybe we could take out a 20 from both. So try that out. For this one, try and take out, hey, why not, another 20 out of both. And for this one, yeah, maybe add another 20 out of both. And let's see what they reduce to. Alright, so calculate each one of these out and see what you would get as far as your reduced fraction. And that would be about 30 over 9. That would be about negative 3 over 9. And the last one would be about negative 27 over 9. Now as I'm looking at these, I know I could reduce a little bit further. In fact, you probably already know that 9 can actually go into negative 27. How much would that be? Negative 3 over 1. Or I could write it as negative 3 pi. This one you can see probably already reduces by 3. And that would be what? -1/3 or -pi over 3. And this last one actually could be divided by 3, or we can reduce by 3 for both sides. So that would be on top, that would be about 10/3. Or we can write it as 10pi over 3. Okay, so that's all in example A. Go ahead and try out example B before moving on, and I like they actually start doing some of the stuff for us, which is kind of nice. They don't just let us, what's the word? Have to put everything in, but let's go ahead and try this out. And then if you're wondering if there's a faster way to reduce, we can go ahead and do that. In fact, you'll notice here that in all of these, they're actually having us do the opposite. We're converting now degrees to radians, or in this case, from radians to degrees. So this one we're actually going to go over. I'm not going to let you do this one on your own, but there will be more that you can do in the packet. So they want us to take this radian, pi over 8. I know it's actually, should probably change that to radian. We're going to probably put that to degree measure. So go ahead and fix that in your worksheet, please. Alright, and let's work these out. So that would be 180 pi over 8 pi. And you notice that the pi's kind of cancel out. And let's see what we can reduce 180 over 8. What would that be? Well, let's see if we could just divide that in. So that would be about 180 divided by 8 would be about 22.5 degrees. And you're probably wondering, why didn't you reduce it to 45 over 2? Because that's what I got as a reduced fraction. You can put it in fractional form, but since we're dealing with degrees, it's okay to put it in decimal. It'll probably be easier to graph or to draw out anyways. So for here, let's write, they give us another radian, 4 pi over 3. 4 pi over 3. So we're going to multiply that by 180 over pi. You'll notice that that's going to be pi times 3 is 3 pi. 180 times 4 would be 720 pi. You'll notice that the pi's kind of cancel out. And let's figure out what 720 divided by 3 would be. 240. Cool. Alright, let's go moving right along. That would be 9 pi over 2. So let's multiply our denominators, 2 pi. And 9 times 180 would be 1620 over pi. The pi's will cancel out, and let's go ahead and we can reduce it. We don't really have to. We can actually put it as a decimal value. So what would that be as a degree? That is a big number. In fact, that's probably going over not once a full circle, but probably twice. So if I could draw that a couple times. Probably more than twice. Alright, just to give you an idea. Alright, let's go on to the rest of part B. And just like it says here, we're going to stop here after these next two to have you do some of the credit work in the packet. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish off these two. That would be -7 pi over 12. So let's go ahead and multiply our denominators. That would be 12 pi. -7 times 180 be about -1260 pi. Pi's will cancel out. And let's go ahead and see what that would be if we divided -1260 divided by 12. And that would be, we don't have to really reduce our answer, that would be about 105 degrees. And last but not least, that's -13 pi over 6. Let's go ahead and multiply that out. And that would be about 6 pi on the bottom. Negative 13 times 180 would be about, whoa, that is a bigger number, 2,340 pi. Again, the pi's would cancel out, and let's go ahead. We don't have to reduce our answer. We can actually kind of figure out what's negative 2,340 divided by 6 would be. And that would be a degree measure of about 390. Okay, so just like it says here, stop and do the problems in your packet. Just so you know, again, if you're trying to change a radian, so if they give you something like this, notice how we're going to be multiplying 180 over pi. If they do end up giving us something like a degree, we're going to be multiplying by pi over 180. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Write in your notes if you need to. You can use this as a reference. But go ahead and try out some of the problems in your packet. We'll come back for Explain 2 momentarily.